Hello everyone, it's Sunday 11th of September 2022 and it's I think around about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In last week's episode we entered dry dock. It was time to sort out Josefine below the waterline. It's an area of her that we haven't seen for 5 years. In this week's episode I'll show you what we found and how in 25 miraculous, heroic and grafting days we put her right, including replacing 18 of her hull planks and removing and refitting her rudder. All I can say is thank you, thank you, thank you, Dominic and Jason. Dry dock. And what I've been doing today is taking all of those planks out. 4 planks of all different lengths, as you can see. So there's a whopping great hole there now. Jason has begun fitting planks on this side, so you can see there are 2 in there, and what he's doing at the moment, we just go up to the forward end, the bow. There's 1 plank that needed to be done on this side. We couldn't do that before because it was below the waterline. All the other planks above have been done, so there's that 1 plank there. I cut that out yesterday. Jason's in the workshop at the moment cutting that. He templated it earlier and he's cutting a plank to go into there. Randy's up there painting the capping rail because I plugged the capping rail. So here we go, up close. So what I've done is hacked out all of these planks. What I'm doing now, I've just started, is plugging all the holes. So you can see they're all glued and dripping everywhere, and they've all been, all the old spike holes. That plank's going to have to go as well. I've taken out the ones that were planned, 1, 2, 3, 4. But of course when you take something apart you very often find other problems, so you can see there are a bit of an issue there at the end of that plank, so a length of that will have to go. This one here, the end of that is all shot, so this plank will now be pulled back to that butt there, so that whole lot will be replaced. The other thing I've done is raked out, so I've raked out these seams, raked those out ready for caulking. This seam there was no oakum in it at all. There was a little bit of putty on the surface and the oakum had long gone, and it was just turned to mush. During lunchtime I just scraped a little bit of the rudder, which just seems to be in pretty good condition actually. So that scraped ready to paint, and all of that is scraped ready to paint. Randy's going to put Viniguard on it, just on the bits where it's back to bare wood. And then we'll put the, oh there's Jason back, then we'll put the anti-foul on, which I've been trying to order in the last few days, red. Step. That's exposed.
Yeah, get the bag. Bring down. I brought it round, I didn't use it. Right.
You okay, Dominic? You need a hand?
I love to struggle then.
No, you love to struggle.
No, it's my favourite pastime.
Lovely lip roll, Tom.
Eh?
Lovely lip roll. We cleared that off, but it's got spikes broken off in it, so
Over there.
5-inch ones.
got it?
Hang on. Right hand. Take a bit of sort of corrosion where it's just been sat still.
You just sort of try and lift it and see if it
Incorporated piano into that performance. Also, 12. And before we
Which one are we doing?
Three first, and I'll lift the clamp off.
Which three?
Oh no, that one needs to.
Do you want the drink?
And I think that nest egg of 10 or 12 million, what will happen is that never met.
That was an
What they said on his behalf.
So here we are, it's Monday 21st of February 2022 and we've just knocked off. I've just put all the tools away, Randy's just putting them away above me, and you can see those are the planks that we put in last week, and that's the remaining one, number 3 on the top side, all the way to the bow, so I'm just going to take you along there now. This is all fastened, so we've taken the plank all the way. We were originally just going to do the stern and the bow section, but there was enough timber just to do the little bit in the middle, so we've actually going to do the whole thing. So it's all ready. As you can see, it's all been plugged. I did that this morning. It's all dry, by the way. That's without steaming, which is pretty fantastic. It's a nice piece of oak. I'll show you the sort of bend we're getting on it without steaming. The advantage of not steaming is time. It takes 2 hours to steam it. You know, it's all of a bit of a faff, so it's another 3 or 4 hours work really by the time you've set it all up, steamed it and put it in. And also it changes shape. It swells up, so you make it to fit perfectly, and then when you steam it, it actually grows a little bit. So those are the two main reasons for just banging it in dry. Obviously the danger is that it will crack, break, and then you've lost that lovely piece of wood, because that's quite, I think that's a 5 metre length, I think, that piece that's gone in there, something like that. So tomorrow we'll fix that one and then crack on with templating and beginning to fix this number 3 plank in. So there you go, that's the end of the day, beginning of this week. I think you know, by the end of the week we should be in a pretty good place. I think it's all about the caulking now. Actually, I've got to get started with that tomorrow. One of my jobs is to fair the plank we put in on the port side bow. Just fair that very quickly, and then tomorrow I go do a lot of caulking, so I'm actually quite looking forward to it. I quite like the caulking. There you go, catch you later. Good evening, it's Wednesday 23rd of February. We've just finished work. It's 5:10. We're knackered, and it's just putting the tools away there. It's been a really busy day. So starting with the steering, that took up most of the morning messing about with that. We've taken the rudder off, so now we can fix it at the top and make sure that when we put the rudder back on. So Jamie's been doing this. There's our rudder, and that's where it used to be. So it's been unbolted from the top and bottom brackets, so these are all going to be plugged. Jamie will remount it, but only clamp it rather than drill it. Make sure that it's all running free with the box in on deck, and only then drill it and rebolt it. Dominic has been continuing this number 3 plank. This is the plank covered up because we're going to get some rain tonight, which goes in here in the amidships position. Dominic has already made and steamed on the bow section, which is a very, very long piece, and we just covered that up to stop the rain getting on it tonight. That fits in from that. There's the butt has been marked. That will go all the way along here. That's steamed and bent onto the plank below it to give it its shape. Okay, this plank will definitely go in tomorrow. The midship one probably will go in tomorrow, and possibly the third, which Dominic has been working on, I think, and has made. This was probably the greatest feat of all. Dominic single-handedly in one day fitted all 3 planks from stem to stern. That's over 50 foot of 2-inch oak planking. Quite remarkable. We had a little bit of rot in the stem here, which has had a graving piece put into it, and to strengthen up this whole thing, Nigel has built this bracket which clamps around the stem and will hold all that nicely together and be welded to the bracket that's already around the stem below it. So that comes, the bracket comes from here down to there, is welded onto that plate, and then is bolted through. So that'll be all lovely and strong there. And then this afternoon I've been caulking the seams here, so I'm nearly finished. Scaffolding, move the scaffolding along to the midships bit and do the midships bit. So we're cracking on. Everybody's been doing something. Randy, in the meantime, she's just painted this actually. Randy's sort of doing fill-in jobs here, there and everywhere. Apart from looking after us and making coffee and running and fetching tools and carrying things, she has also been starting to put the plugs in. So you can see she's plugged the holes in, the fixing holes, in the stern here. You see she's done a really good, nice job there. Really difficult working upside down. Upside down. There's a few bolts I've got to do, so that'll be a weekend job. This is bolt Reg, exclamation mark, get on with it, Reg. There's a bolt going in there, one in there, and one in there. And there's a bilge fitting that has to go in here and two at the front. So there's odds and bits and pieces that have got to be done. So there you have it. A very, very busy day. We should be in pretty good place by the end of the week. We should be on caulking all the seams. And then it's a question of paying and painting, I suppose. So I thought you'd just like that. I'll catch you later. Good morning. It's February 27th. It's Sunday. It's around about 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. I thought I'd just give you a quick update on what we've been doing. It feels like we're weeking. We're working through the weekend. We're going to have to work for the next 14 days non-stop at the very least, because we're in dry dock and we've got to get the job done quickly and get out. Not least because there's a waiting list to come in, of course. So starting at the bow here, we've now got this metal shoe, which I think I described before, which Nigel has finished. So we've got to rake out the seams and then I have to caulk them. Plugs, Randy's plugged that. We need to plug that. I'm going to nip them off in a minute with the fine tool. I might just fair that so that Randy can paint it, because we want to get some paint on this as soon as possible. There's a fixing through hull fixing to be put into there, so that's another little job to do. But as you can see, Randy's plugged yesterday. She was plugging all day. It's all the way down the boat, and you see we're all nicely planked now. She's got quite a few, I think, here at the stern to do, the overhang, which is awkward to get to, so she's got a few up there to do. Our rudder, by the way, is now nice and loose, look, completely loose. Jamie did a nice job on that, so that's all nice, finished. And we've refastened with new nuts and washers and everything. The bolt struts were in very good condition, so that was fine. So that's that's nice to have the rudder now nice and free. There's some scraping here to be done. You can see, just take you in here, you can see I've begun already here, this part there, that's not scraped, that is. A few spots of bare wood there, so it's been a bit flaky, and you can see it's flaky here. So that's got to be scraped to get rid of the flaky paint. This section here above us now, this all has to be scraped. It looks in pretty good condition. There are some flaky bits, but not that many, I don't think. You can see what I mean. There's one there, look. That has to be cleaned up and done. You can see all those planks have been done. That one there, not in great condition, but again, it was considered, given our budget and everything, that we could get away with that, with just plugging these nasty looking holes here. They're basically spike holes, which have enlarged over the years and decayed around the heads of them. So we'll re-drill and plug those, and then it'll be fine. And the rest of it below that seems to be in good condition. That plank will have to be changed at some stage in the future. It'll be one on our list of things to do whenever we get the money for it, basically. I've re-caulked all the way back to, well, basically where the end of the scaffolding is. The end of the scaffolding here, that whole section there is now caulked. I've just got to put linseed oil mixed with red lead in the seams to prepare them for paying later, ready to take the putty. The putty will stay in and bond much better than it would on the bare wood. So you paint it with a very thin liquidy, well, it's basically linseed oil mixed with red lead. So that's what I've got to do for this second section here. You can see I've scraped and prepared the wood there. Nice day today, sunny, very cold. It's 2 to 3 degrees at the moment. There's a nasty easterly breeze, but the coming week, when we really have to get finished, is going to be awful, unfortunately. A lot of rain. I don't know how we're going to get it done, to be honest, because it's the painting stage, but we'll see. Talk to you later. to be a nice day.
It's alright if you're not stood under the drip.
Red, you got red leg powder, you got pink foam, you got everything. What you got?
I have red lead.
Could put it in there if you need it.
Good morning. It's I don't know, 3rd of March I think, or something like that, 2022. If I look cold, miserable and confused, it's because I probably am. It's freezing. It's Saturday and we're in dry dock, and we have 3 days to get out of dry dock, and we've got a huge amount of work to do. So I'm going to give you a very quick tour, because we're really working against the clock at the moment. My job this morning is to pay the seams. They're not all caulked yet, but we've got to pay the ones that have been done, so that we can then paint them and anti-foul below the waterline. So huge amount of work. So in a minute I'll show you how I do the paying. It's new to me as well. Jason showed me how to do it last night, and it seems to be fairly straightforward. I've done one little bit this morning, and the next bit I'll get a video so that you can see how it's done. Basic ingredients are here on the table. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's just have a quick look at the boat. I'll just give you a quick whiz round. Starting at the stern here, the prop is half done. I took off all the crud on the back side of it, but you can see on the front side's got to be done yet, but that's a minor detail. It's an irrelevance. I have to wait and get fitted in whenever the opportunity arises. These obviously are the new planks you can see here that have gone in. Tremendous amount of planks. We knew about the whole of the stern, of course. We knew that was because we could see that, because most of the rot here was above the waterline, not below it. So pretty much the whole, well, in fact all of the planks of the stern have been replaced on both sides. You can see that clearly there. Dominic came in. They've all been, Dominic and Jason have been absolute heroes, by the way. Dominic came in on his day off yesterday to speed the process so that we could do the painting this weekend. So he caulked all of this starboard side. Jason nearly got his done, and he'll have to finish that on Monday. So we'll be racing in the beginning of next week to try and get all this done. So Randy's painting, but not going into the seams, hopefully. And here she is painting. Can you ask me? Yes.
That ends there. That new plank is only going to there.
Correct. That's
so
it.
I do that,
That's it.
and I
You
can
can paint that.
over
Yes.
that.
So here you see at the bow, we discovered yesterday a huge seam on this plank here, which you can see. Don't know whether you can see that. You can practically get a finger through this one. And I tried in vain to back cork it. What you do is, instead of corking the normal way into the seam, you sort of back cork it. So you use the corking iron and you back up the oakum, hoping that it will wedge itself in. But it's such a big gap that was impossible. Dominic had to go as well, and then after a consultation we all agreed that it was unsafe, and therefore that plank is coming out, and then it can be made bigger to fill both the upper and the lower seams, which are not terribly good. Now that plank, in any event, we're going to do a short section of it at the front here, because you can see some damage there, look. So we were going to put a shorty in there, but now we'll just do the whole plank. So that makes a lot of sense, and that will cure that problem. So there's Randy doing that. So new planks on this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planks at the top there, top side, and then there's another new one in there. Tingle goes on there. Well, the day before yesterday I actually caught these seams at the stern here. They're often bad or worse than other parts of the boat, just because of the churning water around the prop here. We're moving on so quickly, and I sometimes have to remind myself, you know, to go and grab the camera. It's so easy to forget, you know, loads of work that we do that we don't film just because we're so busy doing it. And I expect you can, as you can imagine. So while I've got the camera, let me give you a quick look round so that we don't miss that part of it. Ooh, 39 steps apparently, but I don't believe that. Feels like it. It probably feels like 39. So there she is. We've been pummeled with rain and cold and wind, and but it's been great, you know. In 3 weeks, I mean, that's all we've been in here for 3 weeks. We've achieved wonders, and that's only because you know, everyone's worked really hard, including our fantastic crew of shipwrights, Dominic and Jason. I mean, it's one thing for Randy and I to do it because we're motivated, it's our boat, but they have been absolutely stormtroopers. So there you have it. As a good look, you know, it gives you a good overview of the work. Actually, it's pretty tidy. The workbench at the back is normally absolutely covered with tools, but we're just down to the painting tools now. So it normally takes half an hour to put them out in the morning and an hour to put them away at night. So you can imagine how many tools we have out. But that's meant we could work really quick because everything's to hand. I have to get the painting done fairly early because of course it has to dry before we can paint it tomorrow. I mean, technically it ought to wait about 2 days, but 2 or 3 ideally, but we're just running out of time, so we have to do what we have to do. It's quicker.
No, this is broken now.
Well, you've got plenty of others, haven't you? Use them up. Okay, so what I've got to do, this is a little bit that I've got left over from the bit we made last night. So I've got to make some more. So that's just putty. Here's the ingredients. We've got linseed putty, ordinary linseed putty. This is the stuff that you do your windows with. We've got a pot of red lead powder. We've got boiled linseed oil. We've got something to put the red lead in. We've got scrapers for scraping off the excess afterwards. A brush for feathering in the linseed putty into the wood so that you don't end up with a sort of gaps. Plastic gloves, essential. Rubbish bin. Drill and mixer for mixing it in there. And this wonderful item, which is I don't know what they call it. I suppose it's a paying gun. I don't know, a corking gun or whatever. Well, it's not corking, it's for paying. So it's wonderful, and I'll show you how. It's amazing how this works, actually. There you go. It's not a very subtle process, but it trigger. bit of luck, that will go in there. There we go. Lovely jubbly. The end on. And away we go. So once you've put it in, you then scrape off the excess, and also at the same time make sure that it's pressed well into the seam. So there we go, across the top. And once you've taken the excess off, you can see that it's slightly roughed up and pulled away from the seam. So you get a brush, and I've actually put some you can't see this here, but I've put a little bit of linseed oil and putty in here, so basically it's a very thinned down version of the putty, or a very thick version of the red lead paint that we put into the seams originally. And by wetting it, it just saves it from dragging the putty out of the seam.
So that I allow for the seam.
Okay. Is that just on that new plank, or is it on both planks?
On the whole lot. Not on the bottom. The bottom edge is square on here roughly.
Right.
Or whatever it hasn't got a corking seam on.
Right.
But this top edge has, basically. Probably have about 2 planks to do, a little bit of a negative level going on at the end there. I should be able to get it in because it's a bit of plank in like that. Right, that's that. So before I templated, I quickly got my dividers out because I could see the angle was looking a bit tight. They weren't open.
Right.
And it is very tight at the bow, but because it's a bit wedge shaped.
Yeah.
If I send it in from here, I'll get it in.
Okay. It worked quite well, really.